Hello, Ink. Oh, why is this like this? Jesus. I think it's because the sun is, I don't know what's going on. Today, the sun is bright, 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 bright. And it's weird. That's the one thing about cameras and how the light comes in affects it. Like if I were to turn this like into the light, everything can look dark. Like see how my face looked dark going into the light? It's so crazy. Hold on, y'all. I know my fingerprints probably contributed to it as well. But whoa, that's going to look crazy. I mean, it somewhat helped. Hello, everyone. Incredible Wednesday. Instead of saying the time of day, Incredible Wednesday. All right. I am still trying to find this video so I can, like, I literally don't have the, I'm not even getting my own, like, I just don't get how I cannot get my own notification. I'm so confused by that. Yeah. I don't even get my own notification anymore. So I can't even share it out from my Facebook page. This is so crazy. I need my own social media, my own network where I don't have to worry about folk not distributing my content because this is crazy. How are you guys doing? I'm just trying to share this out, so just be patient with me. It's going to be a good conversation. So, a topic that a lot of people ask about. So I want to make sure that, it's shared out and I just don't get it. Like, I just don't get it. Okay, let's see. Can I go through here? It won't even let me click on it. It's okay. All right. I tried to share it out. Okay, that's that. Got it shared out as much as I could. All righty, let's go ahead and start this TikTok so we can officially get started. Making sure, mic check, 1 2 1 2. Can y'all hear me out there? I know it shows up for some, but the distribution for a lot of people, it's my distribution has gone down quite a bit on Facebook. Like, it's like they're not pushing it out. And I'm like, it's not like I don't make great content. I don't know if it's because there is this thing, and like when you're in the groups and stuff for growth on social media, there is like things now. And even when they send me the updates, because I'm actually in the meta group for business owners and all that, it sucks because then you have to go in and like almost respond to everyone. It really messes up the algorithm. Like, if you are posting links, especially because you're taking them outside of Facebook. So if it's too many links, I guess, that goes outside of Facebook, they don't like that. And of course, most of my stuff is taking outside of Facebook. So I'm not sure if that's why the algorithm is kind of like jacked up with them distributing my stuff, but it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. But today's going to be a good one. So hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing? As you come in, give the video a thumbs up, guys. Hit the thumbs up or hit the heart button. Drop an emoji. If you're watching over on TikTok, go ahead and tap that screen. We're going to talk about a highly asked question. And it's about, one, whether or not Alibaba is a legitimate place to order things from, and how does the process work. So if you have ever been interested in getting mass-produced products from sites like Alibaba, DHgates, and AliExpress, I'm going to focus this one more so on Alibaba, but DHgates, AliExpress is basically the same type of setup concept, and it's going to work the same way. So if this is something that you are interested in, whether it is for craft blanks, sublimation blanks, if you want to sell a cake liner, if you want to go on there and sell your own brand of ribbon, the heck? And I'm lotion too. If you want to sell your own brand of ribbon, you want to go and you want to sell glue sticks, you want to sell cupcake liners, you want to sell magnets, whatever it is, things that you buy every single day, especially the things that you purchase on Amazon that aren't like a direct brand, is usually sourced from the manufacturers and the factories overseas that you can easily find on these sources. Alibaba is one of the biggest ones for import and export from China. There are some other countries and things like that on there, but it is really, really big for China. So we're going to go ahead and talk about that. This is not a sponsored video by anyone, not by Alibaba, not by a particular brand or anything like that. As you guys know, anytime I do a video, I come to you guys from just personal experience, wanting to share and give you guys the base information for things. So this is in no way, shape, or form sponsored. It is not an ad, just, and supportive, because, some people don't like Alibaba and they've gotten, or feel like they've gotten burned, all that stuff from there. Also, this live video is going to give you the foundation. You still have to do your due diligence. You have to do your research. You have to put in the work. Just because you are able to go on here and find them, I don't want anyone to think that it's going to be instant success. You're going to see, YouTube ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, TikTok ads, saying, hey, I can help you make money from your house. You don't have to own a shop. You don't have to have inventory, and you're going to make six figures, this, that, and the third, which if you put in the work, it is very much so possible, but it does take work. It does take money. And when you're starting off, you may not be able to get all of the inventory that you want, because the shipping part is the trickiest part of this entire process. So as someone who we sourced our ink, our paper, our heat tape, and we have some other things in the pipeline, a lot of those things are sourced from Alibaba. So I have some experience with it. I have experience in every single way that they ship product out. So I'm able to provide insight on that. All right. So if this is something that you're interested in, stick around, go ahead and hit that share button. Give the video a thumbs up if you're watching over on YouTube. If you're watching on Facebook, go ahead and hit any of those reaction buttons, and also just leave a comment. Say, hey, how you doing? Let me know where you are watching from, and also hit the share button. I am Shakia, the professor of HS Inc. 365 LLC. We are the parent company of Silaholics Anonymous, which is the platform I've been teaching you guys freely for the past 8 years, how to use Silhouette Studio. If you don't know it, Silhouette Studio, you really have to think of it separate from the machine, because it is a pretty decent graphic designing software, and you can do a lot in it. And I enjoy teaching it, especially to newbies in the game. We also own the Honestly SpINKing brand. We currently carry Sublimation ink, Sublimation paper, pigment ink, heat tape, and some other items. 365 Creative Academy. That is my currently online academy to help you unlock your creativity through various classes and courses and trainings. But I can't wait. As of August 1st, I will have my first live in person. You can pinch me and touch me. Don't pinch me though if you come. Here in South Florida. And it's a discussion about the different ways to make t-shirts. So I'm super excited about that, because that's going to start as of August 1st. I'm going to do some in Dade. I'm going to do some in Broward. So that's going to be the kickoff of my first live in person under 365 Creative Academy. So got to start the foundation. Got to set the foundation and start somewhere. So be sure to follow me. Click on the links that will get you on our email list. There we go. So that you can find out more about our products, services, classes, trainings, and so much more. So let's get to it. I waited, I was trying to, give it time. I know some people, you're watching the playback. 13 minutes talking about nothing. That's not what I came here for. I got to let the audience feel. This is a live video. If you're watching the playback, you're watching the playback of a live video. So you got to give me time to let the people get in. All right. So they don't miss anything. All right. Let's see. I just want to say incredible Wednesday to a few people. I'm not going to lie. I'm trying to get started around 15 minutes in. So incredible Wednesday, incredible morning. Hello. Amazing Wednesday. Thank you so much for the fast shipping on my order. That's all my husband. I don't touch y'all orders. That's all my husband. So I will definitely tell him that you said thank you. Hello. Incredible Wednesday. Hey, just say hello. Incredible morning, everyone. Good morning, Professor. I look forward to Sam's today check-in from Virginia. I look forward to today. Sam's, I don't know, checking, but hello and welcome. Let's see. Hello. Nope, this is why I wait and pause a little bit to make sure that you guys don't miss anything, so I don't jump right into it, because it's a live video. Incredible morning. Oh, yeah, something's happening at Sam's. Okay, I'm wait, what? Okay. She said, well, I shared, I need my shares badge. Are you watching on Silaholics Anonymous or are you watching from Shakia Lavelle? If you're watching from Shakia Lavelle, you won't get in. So that's the thing. My icons are the same. I never use my profile picture on Facebook. If you're watching from Shakia Lavelle, you're not going to get the shares badge. That's something that's associated with like the business pages. So you have to be watching from Silaholics Anonymous in order to get that. Because of the general talk of this, I did share it to both Shakia Lavelle and my business page. So it's really streaming on 2 places on Facebook right now. Let's see. It's called Playing in the Sandbox on Facebook. You have to play in the sandbox. Thanks for sharing. Appreciate you. You're welcome. Thanks for sharing with us. Thank you for being straight up. Takes time, money, and learning the system and learning who has American warehouses or not. I don't really, really care about the American warehouses. I mean, that's something that you can definitely look into. Some people have them, but it's not a determining factor for me because for certain, like the majority of things that I get, it's not going to be from a US warehouse. And I find that a lot of the stuff that's in the US warehouses are actually very limited. If you go and you look at someone's full catalog, they don't have the things that they don't have everything in the US warehouse that they do. Me personally, and looking at a lot of this stuff, a lot of the US warehouses ones have like what people are like what's trending, like the tumblers. Now everybody and their mama got the glass, the glass ones and stuff like that. It's not the full scope of what's available. All right. So I'm there in Broward. Yay. Oh, gyms. I was like, wait, what? Thanks. All right. I honey, I know what KKS is. I know what that is, ma'am. We have had discussions about your name. I know exactly who this is. But thank you for commenting. Thank you for joining me this morning. All right. Oh, we're at 17 minutes. Let me get into this, y'all. What does the badge mean? There's different badges. Well, this is not what this one's about, but there's different badges. It really means nothing. It's just identifying that you share or you are a supporter or you're this, that. It really means nothing. It's not that important. It just lets us know that you shared. All right. So that one says, thank you for sharing. We appreciate you. All right. So let's get into this. Alibaba. What is it? Like, is it legit? Just like anything else, like Etsy, even Walmart.com. You have to be very mindful when you're going on Walmart.com to purchase things because it is it is a really like growing marketplace. A marketplace basically just means there is a host and they allow a lot of people to go and post their business and their products on here. And it's like one place where multiple people, millions of people can go to and do a search and find their needs. The name and the person whose name's on it, like Etsy. Etsy has no affiliation with some of these companies. When people go and say, well, how can Etsy let this person sell this? Or how can they let, all they want is their money. Like that's really all they care about. So it is a marketplace. The same way that, like I said, Walmart.com is becoming a marketplace. Wayfair, technically, I mean, it's through HSN, but they sell a lot of other people's products. So technically, like, I mean, HSN is not like a direct like marketplace, but it kind of sort of is, and the things that you can kind of go and purchase from there. It's like going to a flea market or a swap shop where you just have some of everything. The swap shop or the flea market provides the facility, and everyone has booths and things in there. If you've ever been to a vendor show, think of Alibaba, AliExpress, DH Gates, just like that. They basically pay to come to this vendor show or vendor event, and you have a booth, i.e., their particular site, and people purchase from it. Just like in anything, there are good companies. There are some that are not so great. There are some companies that have top-notch quality products and some that cut corners. Same way we have that in the States. There are some whose prices are based off of, it's like, well, dang it, why is this place it's this cost and this one is this cost? Some of them are based off of the number of years that they have that they've been servicing, and they're new and they're trying to get new clients in and new customers in, and they only have, like, let's say, which I went through with my vendor, one paper cutter. Well, it's going to increase the amount, like the time that they are able to fulfill your order, depending on the size that it is, because they may only have a few machines. They may only have a few cutters or workers and things like that. And if they're a smaller one, they can't facilitate and be able to handle large, like super, super large, like multiple large orders at a time, and you end up having to wait. Um, then you have some companies that are really, really big companies. You have some of the people some of the people in China are no different than us that buy it and then we resell it, right? There are actually, for a lot of things, there are select factories, and those factories not only provide inventory, not just to the US, to pretty much any country you can think of, but they're also providing product to others in China. So let's say someone may have a factory and they can do a certain type of drinkware. Well, we can't do the others, but we want our customers to like feel like, okay, well, I can come here and I can get multiple items. So they will buy from the factory that's over there. They don't have to worry about import and all that stuff. They're just buying it, housing it in their warehouse, and they're sending it out. There are manufacturers like straight from the factory, and then there are distributors. Not everyone is someone that actually makes the product, to where when something goes wrong, they're just as lost as you because they probably got it wrong. But for them, it's not as bad of a risk because it's, just like with us, you have to send something back, you're able to easily send it through the post office, UPS. But when you're getting stuff from China, you can't really just easily send that back, because it's going to be just as expensive to send it across the waters as it was to get to you. So you have to be very, very selective and very careful, because you can get burned dealing with the wrong customer, wrong company, not doing your due diligence, not being patient, and you can lose money in it. It's not to say that it's Alibaba is bad. You may have chosen a vendor who's just not that, wasn't that great in business. There are several businesses there that will change their name. So you have to be mindful of that. And sometimes you'll see that like it's like a newer company, but they're not really new. It's just whether they got a bunch of complaints or they got caught basically doing deals outside of Alibaba. So they end up just switching the name to somebody else, and it's still the same basically building. I went through that with a couple different companies, so where all of a sudden their name up and changed. Their name has changed 3 times now. And that happens when you purchase things, like when you do business with them over there. The majority of the companies, like I said, are Chinese based. But do know that that is not the only place to source things. There are companies that have factories and that can, especially when it comes to clothing brands like Pakistan and Africa, like there's a lot of other places that you can source it from. But Alibaba makes it so easy because you can go on there and you can just see all of these places. All the other ones, you're going to have to really, really do research. To me, that's kind of where vendor lists should come into play. A vendor list should never really include people who can easily be found on Alibaba. But those really, really hard to find places, that's where a vendor list comes in, because they don't have the luxury of being on a marketplace. So, hold on. Nothing happened. We're just talking about Alibaba. Very good one. That's actually my next topic, ordering samples. Whenever you go, it will always seem like a great deal, right? Because you're going to go and see, they're going to show the base price. It's going to be like $1 or 50 cents or whatever it is, way, way, way cheaper than what you purchase it for here in the States. And it's going to seem like, oh, wow, this is a great deal. But you have to watch and look at what's called your MOQ, minimum order quantity. when we know y'all go over here, y'all say, okay, well, what's my bulk pricing? And should I give a price for bulk and a discount for this, that, and the third? Well, when you go over there, you're not going to be ordering onesies and twosies. Oh, let me get 10 tumblers. Okay. And go ahead and send it to me without paying a premium price. All of these places have minimum orders. And most times, like, especially for like tumblers and things like that, most of them require you to buy at least a case to where, okay, it's just this one case and it's going to come to you. Things like rhinestones and smaller items, it's not like such a really, really large quantity that you have to get. And it can seem like you're going to get those items really cheap because they're smaller, they're lighter, and they can send those via air freight, which we're going to talk about. But you definitely want to order samples. Some companies will send you free samples of the product, but you are going to have to cover the shipping. And normally when they're doing the shipping for those, it is air freight coming via DHL or FedEx air freight. I don't think I really have anyone you send it UPS air freight. I don't know, but that is the most expensive way to get samples in. And if you're trying like, okay, well, I want everything that you have. Well, the size of this box is going to increase. When we were doing and searching our paper, researching our paper, I had to pay $40 each for almost every single company for paper and ink. It ranged anywhere from 25 to 40 bucks for the shipping. They were sending the samples for free, but I had to pay 40 bucks for shipping. That can get a bit overwhelming, right? So you definitely have to try out samples and see if you can negotiate to where they're going to send you more, like really send you a good sample size, like more than one. You don't want to get like some of them will go and it's like they'll send you one set of something. If it's something like ink, because it's a high volume, you can go and you can test that. I tested ours in different printers. If it's something like a tumbler or a cutting machine, a heat press, of course, they're only going to send you one. Well, they're not going to send you a heat press. You're going to have to pay for that one. But like for smaller items, when I got the tape, they sent us a sample of it and it was a couple of different sizes. So I was able to test it and make sure that it was truly non-staining, non-marking. Some things are only going to send you one. How can you really test the quality of it? Some will allow you to purchase. So as far as samples, they're going to send you what is deemed their sample pack. Some will allow you to order samples, but it's going to be at a higher price because this is a sample. It's almost like they sell it to you for retail, and you're going to have to pay that shipping on it. When it's a small volume, they're not going to send it what's called DDP, direct duty paid. Like they're not going to send it. Well, although I mean technically air freight is too, but they're not going to send it the sea freight where it's cheaper. They're going to send it to you air, and you have to be willing to take that on. So some people get intimidated because of those fees. It's like, well, dang, you know how we are. In like here, we'll say something can be $10 and the shipping was $5. And you're like, I'm not paying $5 for shipping. But if they then go and say it's $15 and it's free shipping, same exact thing, a lot of like your mind plays tricks on you and you think that's a better deal, but you're at the end of the day, you're still paying 15. So it's kind of the same, we don't want to pay shipping. They'll give it to you, but you have to pay that really, really high shipping. And some people will be turned off by that because when you're trying to try out different companies, which you should, you're going to pay that every time. So one of the things I can say is if you decide that you want to get mass produced items, have a startup like budget. These may not be items that work for you. I have, my chair is here. Where are they? I have a bunch of mats. When we were going to do the cutting mats, I had mats from 3 different companies and they all had different features. I don't know where in the heck it is. All had different features, but I had to get them in, compare them, see how sticky it was. I was using them. Does it lose its stick? Is it just as great as this one? Does the registration marks read with this one? Like you have to go through and test it. I paid for the shipping for some of these to get sent to me, but I'm not going to go with every last one of those companies. But we set a budget to say, okay, for samples, we're going to pay this. Like we're going to set aside this to basically pay for this shipping and stuff for all these samples. If you can order, like depending on like how much stuff you want to order, one factory may not have it, so you're going to have to go to different ones. If you can find a factory or a distributor that has multiple items that you want, of course you're going to save a little bit because you're not going to have to pay repeated shipping, and you can kind of go through them. But definitely try out at least 3 companies. Don't kind of order it and it's like, okay, yep, this is great, and then just like start ordering all of your stuff from them, because then you'll quickly find out. Just the same way, if you order a tumbler, you order this from this person, that person here locally, you'll see that, dang it, this is shaped differently, the size on this is differently, the coating on this is differently. Not everyone uses quality products, not everyone uses quality coating, which is why sometimes you'll press a tumbler, it's sublimation, and your paper will stick to it. Well, that was maybe a company who was probably new to making tumblers, but you were so intrigued by the price compared to everyone else, you went with them. Well, the reason why their price is so low is they're still learning how to properly cure their tumblers. Whereas someone who has experience, you are paying that higher price because they're going to pretty much guarantee you a quality product. So you definitely have to order samples. And I'm not just talking about for sublimation. It can, like I said, it can literally be for anything. Rhinestones, the little katana pens, like the was it called katana? Is it katana? Katana Ninja? Is that what it's called? But the little pens, weeding tools, anything that you can find on Amazon can be found on this website. But you have to be willing to pay, like put money up front. Once you decide you want to be a vendor of mass produced products, you have to be willing to put the money up front. This is when you want to become the vendor. I know Ms. Hale mentioned US warehouses. US warehouses are great for people who are still on the retail level, because when they had to get it sent over here, they're paying the prices for it to be like the shipping and all that stuff for it to get sent over here. You're not getting those same prices that you would direct from China. You're not going to go and get a tumbler just because they have a US warehouse. People can go and get this tumbler for $2, $1.50, $3. When you go and you ordering it from some of these warehouses, like these ones who have US based warehouses, they're not going to sell this to you for $3. You're going to almost pay like what others will charge, $5, $6. I know some people charge 8, 10. So you have to be mindful of that, and they don't have all the products. You can get glue. If you wanted to start your own product line, they're going to put it in whatever type of bottle that you want, because this is a generic bottle, and they're going to put a label on it for you. If you order enough quantity, it's called white labeling. So there's a minimum quantity. Let's say you are someone, you use a lot of, you tried it out, you love it, you use a lot of glue. You may not want to necessarily sell it. I don't care about a label being on it. I just want the glue. You can go over there because you are using a large quantity. It makes no sense for you to buy it retail if you can get it from overseas, and there's just a minimum quantity. You like this glue? You might have to buy 25 bottles of it at a time, and it's going to have whatever their generic label is, and just a label that's going to say what it is, and they have to mark that it was made in China, right? That's all it's going to be on there. Now, if you want to now say, well, shoot, I've been posting, people love this, they want to know where I got it from. I mean, yeah, I can send them to Amazon, but if I have an audience, why don't I sell this myself? So once you decide you want to sell it yourself, now the minimum quantity to get your label put on here by them, where basically everything is done for you, the packaging, the shrink wrap, all of this, they send it to you. You then put it in whatever boxes, whether it's a generic brown box, if you're going to get a custom made box, you're going to put in the box, you're going to have your website, you're going to sell it. Well, that minimum quantity then becomes astronomically higher. But let's say, okay, well, I'm not quite there yet. I don't want to take the chance of buying 300 bottles, because I'm growing. Well, you can still buy the minimum quantity of 25, 50 bottles. So maybe, okay, you want to get in the business, you're buying 25 for yourself. Now I'm going to buy 100 and I'm going to see how that goes. You're going to have to label these yourself. This is where, learning about sticker, that's why I say you got to learn to design, because you never know when you're going to have to design your own label. Learn different methods. Even if you're not selling it, sometimes you're going to need those techniques for your actual business. So you order just 100, but you're going to do the labor of putting your label on it for you. They don't put labels on it until you order a certain amount. Okay. Um, so it's not really a free sample. Yes, it is, because they're not charging you for that. How else you going to get it from China to you? That's, I mean, if you're in a store, they offer you a free sample, you're getting it right then and there. There are people, like, when you get things locally, infomercials. Okay, you order today, we're going to send you this. You have to pay shipping and handling. They're not charging for the actual item, but you're paying for shipping and handling because that's a fee that has to be paid. So the item itself technically is free. Ordering samples is key for us. We want to see the quality first. I have received stuff, UPS, air freight, but they are high. Yeah, I couldn't remember. I don't think I've ever gotten the UPS one. I've only gotten DHL and FedEx. The fees get very, very high. A lot of people kind of put on that it's like, this is something that's going to be easy to do. It's really not. We would like to start selling blanks and just add to our product offerings. Everything that we're going to get is not going to be branded because we sell business to business. It makes no sense for us to brand boxes and pay the money to brand boxes or brand certain items because another business is going to make this item, want to put it back in that box and sell it. So we're not looking to brand it, but it can be a lot as far as growth. That's why we're starting off with buy-ins. And that's where, buy-ins, people go to basically Alibaba, and why it takes so long. You have to wait the production time, and then you have to wait for the shipping time. So it's definitely a process when you're ordering from over there. Will you be saving this live video to YouTube? Yes, I am live right now on 365 Creative Academy. So you can watch it there, or you can watch it on Honestly SpINKing's YouTube channel. Yes, I'm talking about Alibaba. This is so ironic. I went to Alibaba last night for tablecloths and chair covers, things like that. You can definitely get them. When you're going to Amazon, that's where people are really getting it from. And sometimes it's those vendors and they're just sending it direct to Amazon, which is at the end, we're going to talk about that too. If you don't want to be hands off and just have it sent there, but you still have to have the capital to purchase in quantity and then basically send it to Amazon. I was just on Alibaba yesterday for tablecloths, chair covers for an event. The price was great, but I'm still kind of on the fence. The price is going to always be great because it's like the raw material costs, and they're just charged. And the way I will say this, our country is kind of greedy to where you would never be able to have factories like that in the States because you would have to pay out so much in taxes and all that stuff. And then, of course, our cost of living is very high. So with having to pay staff and pay people, you have to meet minimum wage. So for certain things to be made stateside, you're going to end up paying a higher price. Learning the back end of how some of these places work when it comes to just staff in general and how they work them like crazy, almost like a sweatshop, it does make you like it. It's a double-edged sword because you feel really bad for them. And it's like, as long as we continue to buy from them, these people are going to continue to live in these conditions. It's not going to get any better. And the higher the demand is, the more they're going to demand of them. So in the back of your mind, it's like, damn it, am I contributing to this horrible lifestyle for them? But then I can't get it stateside because I'll never make money because everything over here is high. So it is definitely a double-edged sword. It is something that when I found out a lot of the back end stuff, I had to pray on daily because it affected my mental, knowing the conditions that especially the women, what they go through over there. Get a free sample. The shipping charge is high. I literally just ordered some samples, small amounts, and the shipping was what made me want to rethink it all. I know research has to be done, but can people share reputable vendors? We're going to talk about how do you find reputable vendors. And what one person will consider to be a reputable vendor, somebody else will say, well, I had a horrible experience because it's customer service agents. It may be that person got a really bad agent, or I have a set of tumblers and I literally got out of all of the ones that was ordered, the box that I got just so happened to be the one that was like the worst one, right? Where all the other boxes, she was like, well, all the ones that I got are fine. They sub well. The paper's not sticking. I just so happened to get, and I always say it's a godsend because I was able to teach on it. I'm a firm believer that things happen to me for a reason. So I could have gotten upset. And she was like, oh no, I want, I'll send it back to me. I'll replace it. And I was like, no, because now I can educate people on how to identify good tumblers versus bad. I can use it for test prints and for teaching. So I didn't sweat it because it still worked out for me for what I do. But everyone's going to have a different experience. Just had one today where someone said, something that wasn't so great. It was a misunderstanding. So for them, it's like, okay, no, this is a bad business, where others are going to say, hey, Shakia is great. I don't know what you're talking about. So only way to find a reputable vendor is for you to test them out, because what is considered reputable for you may not be for someone else. And what you may be okay with, somebody else may not be. You might have higher requirements. For me, the company that I'm going through for our blanks is one of the more expensive ones, but I'm doing that because I know that the quality is going to be great. So that means when we sell our products, it's not going to be, I can never match these US warehouse prices. I'm not going to match some of these others that may get theirs and it's a little bit cheaper. I can never match that. We have overhead, and I'm choosing to get a product that I know is quality because my standards are different. Everyone's standards are not the same. But I will tell you how to now navigate the site and see who's like, because there's ratings on there. There are ratings, and it just basically means like they haven't had a lot of negative reviews. So you can probably definitely try them out and see. But you should always be cautious. Go into it very cautiously and definitely get samples. Am I willing to share who I trust? Well, I'll tell you, like, all of my stuff is coming from Best Subs. Yeah, you can go look at their website, do all that. All of my stuff is coming from Best Subs. All right. So there are, I'm going to go and show you like Alibaba, but when it comes to shipping, right? There are 3 ways that the items can be shipped to you, and each one has pros and cons. If you want something quickly, you can do air freight. If it's not like too big of a quantity, the risk in air freight is they don't send it palletized. If you have a lot of things, what air freight, like they will go and like, let's say they send it through DHL. They're going to go on their side and they're going to put in like this big shipment. That's when you'll have package 1 of 2, 1 of 14, 2 of 14, and it's going to be all in one. But each one of them will have an individual shipping, like individual shipping. So it is very easy for packages to be separated. When we first got our ink, that happened to us, and we had where we literally got everything else. So we got black. I want to say it was yellow. No, it was either, I was thinking on cyan. So we got the black, magenta, yellow. We couldn't send anything out because we did not have the cyan. It was lost somewhere. It got mixed it was about 4 cases. 2 of them were hung up in China. And even when you watch the tracking of it, you'll see that 14 packages sent, 5 packages are still in China processing customs. And then once it comes here, once it gets here, it now splits up to where, okay, 14 came together. But now when I go and look at the tracking, only 10 are being processed through customs. How in the heck that works? So yes, you're going to get it faster. It is going to be more expensive, and it's more of a stressor because your packages can be separated. But if you want to go and like in our mindset, for us, our mindset was Well, we can wait for it to get here, like wait longer, but we don't have product to sell. So we were willing to pay air freight for those to get that here faster so that we can hurry up and distribute it. When you really break it down, like based off, like it's sometimes also based off the quantity that you order. And it for us, it was okay because it's like it looks like a high amount. I'll tell you, one of our shippings via DHL was 4,600 and I gotta go look at it, but it was like over $4,000 just for shipping. But when you look at the amount that you have ordered and you break it down, it was like, oh, for all the stuff that we ordered or whatever, even if you like, some of it like the syringes or cartridges, if you really break it down for that quantity, it was literally like $1.50 extra. But most people aren't going that extra mile to really do the math. They're just seeing $4,000 to ship it. Oh, heck. But I got it in 4 days. Anything that they ship to me, because one, I'm in Miami. We have customs here. DHL goes and they will fly straight from China straight to Miami. So I get mine in 4 days because it comes straight to Miami. Whereas others, you still may have to wait because it has to go to where there is an airport for DHL. And then, of course, it's distributed throughout the country. But I'm like, okay, but I'm getting it in 4 days. I don't have to wait. So that's a pro for me. And then when I actually took the time to do the math, it's like, oh, it's not like, okay, yeah, it's $4,000. I'm losing like a lot. It's literally an extra dollar. So if I'm going and I'm pricing it correctly and I have the right percentage on it, what's $1 to get it in? It in your mind, but as we grew, it's like, damn, I can spend this money in shipping. One of our bills was $8,000. If we would have sent it via DHL, it was $8,000 because, of course, as we grow, we're increasing how much ink we're bringing in. And although, yeah, it's only $1 extra, think of how much more inventory we could have gotten had we just said, okay, we're not rushing to get it in. We're willing to wait the 25 to 30 days. And now we can actually get more product in because we will take the slower route. If we take the 35 to 40 days for it to come directly to Miami, we're going to save even more money. But I now have to wait an additional 30 to 40 days before, like if you're not doing a pre-sale, you now have to wait an extra 30 to 40 days to get that product in. So those are like the downfalls of it. Air freight, get it fast. Start making money right away, right? Especially if you have an audience. But you take the risk of packages getting lost. If someone, let's say you ordered a bunch of different stuff, right? And you have orders for it, but only a box of half the stuff come, you can't even send out the rest of your order because the other boxes are lost. So that's like the air freight one. Then when it's, and you never have to worry. So I think I saw Jesse ask about like the tariffs and stuff like that. Whenever you are sending it air freight or direct duty paid, you don't work, like it's built in the cost. So you will never really know what that cost is because it's built into it. You are basically using, because it's a whole customs process. And I'm not going to go into that because it'll take forever. That's why if you look, say what you will, there's a lot to this. I'm giving you and I'm going to probably be on here for an hour or so, and I'm still only scratching the surface of what all it takes. If you would like to know the full process, because as we're getting our blanks and stuff and we're doing the buy-ins, you're going to pretty much go on the journey with it so you can see the full process. So if you are interested in that, there is a link in the description of this video. For TikTok, I have to add it to my link tree. But you can click on that so that you can be on the list so that when I drop that training, it is going to be a paid training because you're going to get an inside look. You already know my stuff is affordable. I'm not going to charge you $500, $600, $700, $800 for it. It's affordable. I know some people may come in. It's like, okay, this is too much for me. So I don't want you to invest $200, $300 and you're like, man, this isn't, for me. This is way more than I thought it would be. But it is going to be a paid session to take a look into the ordering process and really, really break it down. So when you're shipping, whether it's air freight or when they send it duty free, the cost is built into it because you are using DHL, you're using FedEx's customs account. You're basically using like their broker, like their fees. So they are paying those fees for you. That's another reason why it is so expensive, because it's built in. Until you go and have where you secure like a private like freight forwarder and it's coming directly to you and it's not going through any of those entities, you will never know about duties and custom fees, tariffs, all of that, because it is already paid for you. The second way of it being shipped to you is from any port in China. They're going to send it to a port on the West Coast. The majority of the time, it's going to one of the California ones, which is why it got so congested and ships and things were sitting out in the water, because that is one of the most congested ports, the one in California, most congested ports ever. So it's going to go into a port. For most of them, it's going to take 15 days. This is not like speedboats. So it's going to take 15 to 25 days, depending on where it's coming from in China, to then come down, get to a port on the West Coast. Once it gets to a port on the West Coast, whoever the shipping carrier is, it then goes from that container to that shipper. So let's say it was through UPS. That container is unloaded. Someone has to come pick it up. It goes to the UPS, like distribution one in California, and they separate it. They have to go and separate everything. This is when you will finally see tracking. The other part, when you're doing it the short sea freight way, you will never see tracking. You will not know where your packages is. Some of them will give you access to where you can see by like by GPS where the ship is. They're going to give you a tracking number for either UPS or FedEx or however it's going to come. But you are not going to see any movement on that tracking. A lot of people think, oh, I got my tracking number. And then you're like, okay, well, why is it taking so long? Because it still has to come 15 to 25 days via sea. It has to clear customs first, which can be like a 24 to 40-hour process. Then it has to get to whoever the carrier is, and their people have to go on there, empty all of it, separate all of it, scan it all in, and then send it through their system to get from California to wherever you are. So imagine, and it's a lot of times sent ground. They're not sending it air again. They're going to send it ground. So going from California to Miami via ground, depending on how that driver is, you're now looking at another 3 to 5 days, 7 days, or however long it takes. So it can be a long process, anywhere from 30 to 60 days before you get your products that way. It is still just as much of a risk as going air freight, because when they're doing it that way, they're not palletizing it either. Like, they still are not. Our very first order of paper came that way. It was not palletized. And we actually had the scare of our life because it was actually sent to somewhere else. The freight forwarder sent it to the wrong person. We did not know until after the fact. And I thank God, that the company that it was sent to trusted us enough, and us showing them all the paperwork. This isn't for your client. This is for me. And they actually put it on the pallet, sent it to us via FedEx, because it still came loose. We were looking at tracking, and some of it was moving, some of it wasn't. It was a friggin' nightmare. So it is not palletized. They will still send it in individual boxes. So that's still a risk in things getting lost. We've had stuff that's been lost and there's never recovered, and then our vendor just sends us extra with the next shipment. So it's a risk. That is a lot of money. It is a lot of money. We're going to talk a little bit about like the assurance. And there's also additional fees, right? So you guys will go on there and you'll see, oh, wow, I can get this for $1. Well, that's the fee from that company. Just like Etsy has fees, Alibaba has fees. So when they go and they send you that invoice and it's going through Alibaba's system so that you get their trade assurance, that cost now goes up. That $1 or whatever, doesn't include the shipping on it. So that cost is going to go up. You can't get big-eyed and excited about that price because there are additional fees. They are not hidden fees. It lets you know that there are fees. It's just that you won't know the final fee until you get that invoice. So that's the other way. And again, both of those, you will never know what the duties are, what all that stuff is, because it is coming through those channels and they are paying for it all. Now, when you have it sent directly to you, it is not going through any shipping carrier. You have a freight forwarder, you're going to have a broker because you have to have a certain license certificate to be able to get packages cleared through customs. There are some people that bring in some not so legal stuff and maybe handbags or knockoffs, and they pay good money to a broker because certain brokers know people at the port or know people in customs, and they're going to be able to flag that through and kind of, help you when it comes to shipping. They're going to let you know what day inspections are kind of scheduled, like might be a pop-up inspection. That's another thing that can hold up your shipment. If your stuff ends up on the port on a day where they say, hey, we're doing a random inspection, guess what? Your stuff, yes, your vendor did not lie to you. They shipped it off. But now it is stuck at the port because they're doing a random search. There is always risk, and you're having to put a lot of money up front, and you could potentially lose money. If it is something that is deemed illegal and you can't have it here, you lose all of your money. If it's seized at the port, you're not getting that back, and that's not on your vendor because you took the risk. But when you go through sending it directly to you, you have to have there's a freight forwarder from overseas, and like you have to have your broker that's going to either they have their freight forwarder sometimes, or sometimes you only deal with them on the state side. So once it comes in, then you pay, like you have to pay them to do everything. You're paying them to do all of your paperwork. You as an individual cannot do the customs paperwork yourself. You're going to have to go through a broker. So now that's an additional fee. Yes, the freight is going to be cheaper as far as like just the raw cost to put it on in a container. There's consolidated containers, or if you ball out of control, you have your own, you're going to end up getting a whole container. You pay for a container can cost anywhere from $800 to $800 and up, depending on the size of the container, even a $2,000 container. So if you are feeling that and you don't want to consolidate and you're not sharing it with others, you're paying for that container up front, and then you still have to pay the fuel costs for it to get over here. So it can get very, very expensive. But when you're doing a large quantity like that, if you're going to fill a container, $2,000 is nothing because you're going to make way, way, way more than that. So once it comes here, there are certain fees. You have to pay a fee for it to be exported. So I will say for us, the very first time we did it and we exported out, I'm like, oh, this is great. 800, how much is it? I'm like, how much is it to send it to Florida? Like, I don't want to keep doing this other way. We got a port right here. Okay, $900. Wait, it's $900 to send it straight to Florida, but you were trying to charge us $2,000 to go to California? Send that to Florida. Oh, but baby, that was just the export fee to do all the paperwork from China to the US. The export. The import part is totally different. You've got to pay another fee. As it's coming through the port, you are paying for all those longshoremen that's picking it up. You have to pay a fee for it to come in. Now, and you still have not dealt with any customs, no taxes, no shipping, no nothing. Like, delivery. Luckily, I'm in Florida, so delivery was never I'm in Miami. Delivery was never high. But if it comes into a port that's closer to you, you then have to secure a shipping company, a freight company, to then take it from, let's say, Florida to Georgia, Florida to what's in the middle? I can't even think, just to send it somewhere, or even to go, because we're on the East Coast. If you're in the middle of the state, you can't, it's going to be a much larger freight to go from the port of Miami to the middle of the state. If it's coming in from the Gulf, it's different. Like it's a whole lot to that. It's cheaper, but it's more stress because you have to deal with all these entities. And for some, the brokers will take on that cost and you pay them one fee. So they're going to pay for the freight. A lot of the times it's because they have other clients. And if it's at a port where they have other clients, okay, well, we're going to get it on this container. And it's going to basically save, because the more people that's on this one, it breaks down our responsibility for how much we're taking up of this particular freight. So you'll pay less for it to get here. It doesn't really change, like whatever your order size is, like when it comes into it, and then they break it down, and then there's like all these fees. They take care of everything for you, for customs, doing all the paperwork. You have to sign this. They will secure your delivery, but then you have to pay delivery. So there is no easy process depending on how much you want to order. It may seem great, oh, become your own vendor, but sell all these products, but it can be an undertaking if you are not aware of all of these little nuances. And all someone is just saying, hey, here's a vendor, you can go over there, go on here, get a Facebook group, go and sell these products, but they're not telling you about all of these little things like this. Okay. Okay, wait, let me look at some and then I'll go back to my other thought. Is it worth it? I mean, for us, it is, because we have a very successful brand. And it is worth it for us because it's what keeps, that's what takes care of our family, and our business supports our family and stuff like that. So depending on what it is that you're wanting to get, it definitely can be worth it if you're going to put in the work to market it and actually get it sold. What type of paper is this for? Is what for, love? I'm not sure what you're referring to. I haven't gotten scammed from Alibaba. I like them. Okay, so then over here, oh, hold on. I'm like, why am I all of a sudden getting hot? That sun is beaming on me, and my fan definitely was not on. Let's see. Once I ordered face masks to Sublimate, they sent me black masks. In order to get my refund, I had to send them back, and shipping cost me $500. Exactly. It's not going to be an easy thing to send something back overseas, because when you're sending it back, the only thing that you really can do is send it back via air freight, and it's going to be expensive. If you want to send it back to them, like basically how they sent it to you, you then have to find a freight forwarder or a broker here so that it can go back on a consolidated ship and then be sent back. And that sometimes still is not worth it. Yes, they are a good company, and you pay the extra because you're getting quality. Not sure if you've addressed it, but I'm told it's important to be familiar with Chinese holidays that can cause severe delays in production and shipping. Yes, have not gone over that. I love best subs, and yes, they are high. Definitely get samples, but sometimes the most used vendors don't have reviews. And for sure others are using them. Do you strictly stick to manufacturers, or do you try a trading company? I prefer not to necessarily. And I think, well, with our mats, that's what happened, and that's why I have like a bad taste in my mouth about going through like trading companies, or like who are distributors, and versus going through the actual manufacturers, because we had issues with it. Our paper, our ink comes from the actual manufacturer. Our ink vendor actually provides ink for other distributors where other people get it from them, but it's really only a couple of like factories that really make ink in China, and then they just become distributors where they will sell people barrels and barrels and barrels of the ink, and they're not actually making it. All they're doing is taking bottles, and they're just a bottling company. They buy the barrels from one factory and they bottle them up. There are companies where they buy the supplies from other factories in China, and all they're doing is putting the packaging on it, putting the label on it, printing out for the UPC and all that stuff. So I personally rather only go through manufacturers, but that's just because of personal experience. Testing is on you. You have to do the testing. That's what you get samples for. Testing is on you. Has the recent backlog of ships being able to unload affected me personally? No, because I don't have a congested port. The port of Miami is not as congested. Ports on California are more congested because that is the cheapest way to get it here. So it's not as much fuel and things, and the time frame is not as long to go from China to a West Coast port. So because that is the easiest entry into the US, those are backed up. If you are willing to have it be sent to ports in different areas, it can be less congestion. So for me personally, no, we have not had any issues with backlog because um, um, Port of Miami and uh, Port Everglades, it's not. They have some congestion, but it's not like LA where there was just ships sitting in the water. Like there might be stuff sitting here, and it's like now it's the supply chain stuff. So like them trying to find bonded warehouses, you can't just send stuff. Like they just can't send stuff to any warehouse. It has to be bonded and all into all these different things. So it can be backed up with getting things like shipped out. But for us and our size of it, we haven't had any issues so far. Knock on wood. Yes, Best Subs is a vendor on Alibaba. As a small business owner, I have to order way ahead of time because I ship by sea. I'm getting my Christmas list ready now. Exactly. You have to, one, because of holidays, and then with just the production time of it, and then depending on how you're getting it shipped. There are some they can wait to the last minute because they're willing to do the whole air freight thing. But if you are not that person like that wants to do the air freight, you have to order early so that you can get it in, you can test it, you can market it way before Christmas and have it for Christmas. So yes, for certain things, you're going to end up having to order way ahead of time. Yes. What do you mean by testing? Yes, you have to test the item. So you're going to buy tumblers. You're going to go and not for an order. I don't have my tester one. Like if y'all should be watching me, but like I have a tumbler where I wrote 330 degrees, 360 degrees, 60 seconds, 120 seconds, or whatever. Like I will go and I will test it. When I tested the paper, I'm testing on all types of substrate. Testing it just means you are using it. If it's a cupcake liner, you're going to go and you're going to make some cupcakes in it to make sure that it's not going to burn and melt in your oven. If you're getting glue sticks, you're going to go and use those to see, okay, does it produce strings? If it is a glue gun, you may order it and then you have to go and test it out. So it might be okay. You order it, you're going to test it out for 2-3 months. You want to see, okay, is this going to short out? Is it going to burn? Is it going to, like, after a couple uses, is it going to burn the element on the inside? And I'm going to be stuck with a gooey mess. So yes, you have to test it. And by testing it, I don't mean just like one time. You want to do multiple tests. If it's something for shirts, you want to press to it, you want to wash it. Every time, even if you're not wearing it, throw it in the wash. Every single time you put a load of clothes in, and you want to see how it works. If you're getting easy subly paper, anybody can really get that. Well, you can't call it easy subly because that is trademarked by Caesar, but anyone can get that dark transfer paper. Best Sub sells actual Jet Pro 3G. Best Sub sells actual Cameo machines. So you can order those things from there, and you just want to test. If you're wanting to sell heat presses, you want to get it, you want to turn it on, you want to go and see how the heat maintains. If you're doing back to back, that's the sign of a good vendor. Is like you're not just trusting it and you're just gonna buy something. Well, I would say us personally, we don't just go and buy something and we haven't put it through the ringer and really tested it. Is it cheaper to send to Florida than California? Not really. Certain fees and stuff is more expensive in California. Your shipping, like the actual export from China to California, is cheaper because it's a shorter run. It's not as much fuel. But once it gets into California, their fees and things and their duties are higher on that port. They're like when you do it, it's broken up into regions, and certain ports have higher fees. The port congestion fee is higher in California than it is on the East Coast. But shipping wise, for export going from China to Florida is going to be more expensive because it's a much longer travel. That means the crew is on the ship much longer. They have to pay them more. It is more fuel. So it kind of balances itself out. Yes, I sell blanks and test products before selling them. Test items are normally sent air and they charge. Yes. Been there. Is there a way you can pick up at the port? Let's say no, because it like you personally can never go and pick up from the port in Miami. It's only certain companies that can go. And what happens really is you're not even really picking up from the port. Only one that picks up from the port. Remember, I talked about bonded warehouses, and there are certain companies they will pick up a container because they can't leave it there. They pick up the container, they take it to a bonded warehouse, and it's stored there. After so many days, if you leave it there, you can't get a delivery. Like then they start to charge you storage. You only get 14 days. After that, they start to charge you every single day that it's in their warehouse. And from there, you really can't like the way like it's really really large like warehouse and like how it's set up. And if you don't have, let's say, the where you can back up right to the dock, like dock access, like a truck that's dock access, you're not going to be able to get certain things from there. So it's not to where you can just go get a U-Haul truck and then you can go pick it up from there. You're going to have to get a company that is basically used to dealing with these warehouses. Thank God I did the knockoff stuff. I remember when we used to do Western Union back the day. It was around 2009 era. Let's see. It can get really expensive. Yes, they have brokers at the port, though, and sometimes your manufacturers have a connection for you. Mine is in the Gulf. Yeah, mine actually happens to be right here in Miami. How do you find a broker? A Google search, and you have to vet them and ask questions, but basically a Google search. Or you can end up paying people who say, I have done business with these people. This is how this person operates, and you can pay for a list. But for the most part, how we found ours, we Googled and we spoke with people, we emailed and found out like, the process, those who were willing to talk to us. And that's how we end up finding our broker, and we love them. Back end, front end, you have to know that to be successful. That's with any product, correct? Do you recommend a broker or let the vendor handle everything? That's a trick question. That's a very, very, very trick question. I'm going to come back to that one. I've never had an issue with Alibaba. Money is secure, depending on if you go through Alibaba. That's another thing. What time is it? I got class at 12. Money is secure. They messed up my order once, and within 45 minutes, I had my money back. Highly recommend Alibaba. So simple and reliable. It depends on how you do it. I had not have one delay when shipping. Let's see. How do you know which port they send the shipment to? If you live in Florida, do they automatically send to Miami? No, they're going to price it based off of the port that you have it sent to. So when you're going, they're going to give you a quote that it's going from California to the port of Miami, the port of Everglades, the port like that's on the Gulf Coast. So you'll know exactly it's not going to just send it to some random one because the costs are different to each one. If they come, if it's like somewhere that's being sent from China, like that's at the top, they may go around the top of Canada and come down to where a port in like the New York area, or going to Orlando, or going to like different ports. Like it's going to reach them first. So it's going to be a little bit cheaper compared to coming all the way down to Florida. If there's some that will take the Gulf trek and it's going to come from China and it's going to come this way, it's going to hit Florida, like Miami, before it hits any of the other ones. If it has so the cost is going to be different. So you definitely will know beforehand and know what the cost is to go to the exact port that, and a lot of times too, they don't know the map like that. So you're going to have to do your research too, to know what coast or what port that does. And not every port does every type of import. You have to be mindful of that also. Not every port accepts every single like certain imports. So you have to know that, and that's where research comes in and all that. There's a lot of work you got to do on your end for this. in Texas. Most of the stuff comes through the Houston area, and that's not the only port, but for a lot of like the general stuff, that's the one that's kind of like when you're researching ports and things like that, like the fees for it is based off of the type of port that it is and the things that they will accept, like the things that can be imported through that port. Yes, that's very true. I was stating that when orders arrive to sell, make sure all the products are good. Oh, well, no, you can't. Of course, you can't do that. You can't go and test every tumbler. So you end up taking a risk where someone's going to get a bad one. If you're not opening up every single box, someone may end up getting one where the mug is broken. So, yeah, unfortunately, you can't, of course, test every single item. Things like this, like with our chips, we're able to test those. We're not able to test to make sure every cartridge works. We're not able to test to make sure that every chip resetter works, but we tested enough to say, okay, well, if we get one or two bad ones out of the bunch, or even like we're ordering hundreds and thousands and we have 5, 10 bad ones out of the bunch, that's a pretty good ratio. OMG, this is so much to know. I think I will pay a bit more attention to things to get things here. When ordering, can you actually choose? Yes, you can choose the port of your delivery, but you're not going to be able to choose. So let's say you only want 200 tumblers. No one is going to put that on a freight to come from China to Miami. You have to reach a certain amount. They preferably prefer it to be palletized in order for it to be on that shipment where it's going to just come into a port regularly. Now, going to California, you can definitely have smaller quantities sent, your samples, all of that. You order a box of things, you can definitely have that go. But when you're talking about going through a broker and all that stuff and sending it to it's not worth it because you're going to pay so much money to take up that space. Like there's a certain square footage they're going to charge you, even if like it's not like, okay, well, just throw my stuff in there, just throw my box on the top of their pallet. It doesn't work that way. You have to, and we've had times where we've had to increase our order so that it can be palletized and it can be sent to a port. So it's not just any order can go to the like various ports and you pay the duty. It doesn't work for every order. Yes, you have to have a broker. It's tiresome going back and forth with vendors trying to ensure that they have product that you want. Most of the descriptions are not accurate, just clickbait. You can click on their product, so you can click on their products, and this is true. But that's with anything in business. Some people advertise, and they're gonna go. I mean, hell, when I went and it could have been like I did a class. Well, who wants to learn about Alibaba? I mean, I am giving you the information, but I could have come on here and say, okay, well, yeah, I could have gone and not been on here for an hour and made you think, okay, yeah, click on this because I want my algorithm up. And you're going to think, okay, I'm going to get all the information. And even this, there's still so much more. I can't give that all to you for free. Like that's time. I've been giving you guys basic information and answering questions, and it's an hour and 18 minutes. So not every class is going to people say, oh, well, it's not even live. Well, you can't do this live to where imagine if I'm on a Zoom and all these people are asking questions. So everything in business is really kind of clickbait. It's a part of marketing and advertising, unfortunately. Facts. Vet them jokers, or if you know a trucker, they have people they network with. Exactly. Is it smart to find someone in your area that you know and combine orders to get a lower price? You definitely can do that. If you guys are so depending on how you're shipping it in, if it's enough to where you can send it via true sea freight, of course, everyone's going to win in that situation. If it is a situation where you're going to do air freight or just do the one where you're going like direct to door, basically is what they kind of like tell you, you're not going to necessarily save on shipping because that load is that size no matter what. What you will save on is the cost per item from the actual vendor, but it's not going to save you on shipping. So, there's no class today for event. We have SVG at 12 and we still have bachelors at 6:30, but there's no event class today. They have never asked me what port I want to use. But are you having it sent to a port that's near your home and you're going through a broker, or are you going through it's going through like, do you get your items where it comes to your door via UPS and FedEx, or are you going and scheduling a deliverer yourself? Because that's totally different how you're operating. If you're not ordering palletized ones, they're never going to ask you about what port, because it's going to come in through the same port and then it's being shipped to you via UPS or FedEx. They're only going to ask you the port because each port has different fees. So if you're not paying your own duty fees, your own custom fees, you're not paying your export fees, you're not paying your import fees, they're not going to ask you that because you're doing DDP, direct duty paid. Like, it's paid for you. At 200 tumblers, though, and more than order from the U.S. warehouse, because some of the vendors have U.S. warehouses, and a lot of common stuff like blanks tumblers typically get, yes. So yeah, if you just want tumblers, like little things like that, then yes, find someone that has a U.S. warehouse, because they've already paid the money for it to be in the States, and you just have to wait. You still have to, it's still best for you to go through their system for assurance. Even though it's in the States, if it's someone that you found through Alibaba, you want to still go through their system for trade assurance. Do I recommend buy-ins to get things cheaper? I've done a talk about buy-ins. This is not necessarily about buy-ins. That would be a totally different video. I'm lost as to the point when you get a broker. Do you first order on Alibaba and then find a broker who will help you get it to you, vice versa? Yeah, you can do that. So you process they prefer that. So you process everything, and when they're giving you the quote, they're not going to include any shipping on it. And you basically have to have your broker contact them, and they will let them know when it's available for pickup. Your broker has their people like in different companies over there, whatever shipping company they work with. Once the vendor tells you it's ready, that company in China, that shipping company in China will go pick it up and deliver it to the port. And then they have to secure spots. It's not like, kind of when you ship stuff out and everything kind of goes, whatever. When it comes to those containers, it can be a delay, which again, I've dealt with all of these things and it sucks to deal with them, but I'm always grateful because I can share a full scope experience. I have been in a situation to where our spot on the on a port, the container that we they put our stuff in, it was not secured because every container, like, they had to know where to pick it up from and how many can fit on this ship and stuff like that. So it wasn't secured, and we were told it was, and it took them 2 weeks to secure a spot. Our order was manufactured, it was done, and it took them 2 weeks to secure a spot on a ship that was coming to Florida. So there's always that risk. You think that you're going to get it, and that's where the delays and stuff comes in as well. But you already have your broker, whenever we order, we have our broker. So we place the order with them, and all we're paying them upfront is the cost of produce the stuff. And then our broker takes it from there, where they communicate with our vendor to have it picked up and taken to the port. Hey, Professor, when I asked yesterday, you said, wait, hold on. Okay, no. Hold on. Let me see. There's one class today and then not the other. Hold on. Let me just go look at it. Which one is today? Or it might be event. No, today. Yeah, I said it right. Event is today at 12. There's no SVG. Tomorrow, there's no event. There is, hold on. Let me refresh this. Yes, today is event decor at 12, and my bachelor session is at 6:30. Tomorrow, there is no event. It's the SVG one at 12. Yes. Did I say it backwards the first time? Today is event, no SVG. Tomorrow is SVG, no event. But you guys should know this, because if you registered, it's on your calendar or you got it in an email, and it's also on the website, guys. It's on the website. You got all the dates and times are there. If I mix it up, you guys still know the dates and times. I'm in Orlando, but travel to Miami for a lot of often. Would you be willing to share the name of your broker? If not, how to Google for one? You're going to search for import export broker. Now that one, I'm not going to share my broker because I had to do the work for that one. Like I said, we went through quite a few of them. So you're just going to search for um, import and export brokers in the area that you're looking for. Let's see. I'd love it on a recording. I can rewind and take better notes. What you like? What on a recording? Oh, the classes. But yeah, some people they complain if it's not a live class. Can you see my Tumblr? Oh, this is the one that I put my color chart on so that I know when I'm creating designs myself and I'm printing it from my 20. This is the color chart for 2720. I have one that's from my 7710. I mean my 7720. So when I'm printing directly from them and I'm designing in Silhouette Studio and I'm putting in the colors, this tells me and shows me exactly what the color will be. So I'm not surprised when it comes out. All right, so where was I? So we talked about the different shipping, and I talked about MOQs that it's a minimum quantity to get it at that price. If you want them labeled, it's also a minimum quantity for that. I talked about shipping. Let me see. It was somebody's question that I was supposed to readdress. Oh, I know what it is. I know the thing part. What the last part is how do you pay, right? So when you go through Alibaba and you're finding a vendor through there, some people will tell you, okay, of course, I'm not saying, but it's okay. It is best that you go through Alibaba because you will get the trade assurance. And basically it's like it's insurance on it. Should something happen, especially if it's like on your vendor part, Alibaba, because you're not paying your vendor directly. Just like when someone goes and like with when you pay via PayPal or if you do something on eBay, you're not paying that person directly just yet. It's going through Etsy, like you're paying Etsy's system, and then Etsy will pay out to the whoever the vendor is. Or if you use PayPal and you're not like you haven't been verified by them, they will hold it until you ship it out. If you do something through eBay, they hold the money until you show that you have shipped, like you have a tracking number and it's sent out. For some certain things, they'll hold your money until the customer says they receive it, and it's as is. So it's basically the same way with Alibaba as well. You have people that will, like vendors, that will give you a better deal because you are going to pay them directly, because they're going to get their money directly. Compared to when you go through Alibaba, they're going to hold their money until there is like is showing the shipping on it. And a lot of times, like if it's received, and if it's not, Alibaba's going to say, well, we still have our fee, but they're going to be ASS out because they didn't do what they were supposed to. So because you went through their system, they're going to give you your money back. So if you're going through all of theirs, which you're going to end up paying a fee through there, you're going through a freight forwarder that is with Alibaba, and it's better if you do like those, you can easily get your money back. But you're also going to pay more because of their fees, and the vendor is taking a risk and you purchasing it through there, because if you say that something was wrong or you say it's X, Y, and Z, they're not going to get their money. So they will charge you more because you're going through the official system. They also take a risk and take like having you pay outside of the system, because let's say they burn someone and someone goes to Alibaba. Alibaba can block you because you came to their system, you found a vendor through their system, you cut them out by going straight to the vendor and paying that vendor directly, so they can block you from ever ordering from them again because you're just using them to find people, but you're going to take other man. Like that's how they make their money. That's how that site keeps going, is when they're basically getting the fees from you, and they're getting fees from the company for being on Alibaba. But once you go and let's say you report them, then that company gets in hot water, and they get warnings and all that stuff, which is why, like I said, some companies will seem like they're new, but they're really not. They've had to change management because they've gotten in trouble. Someone probably reported them. They can't operate under that name. So although their factory is old and they've been in business, they may have the little badges and stuff that say they are a newer company only because of things like that and having to change the name. There are companies over there that have been in operation for a really long time, but they're just now selling like a new product. Um, there were a couple companies where they sold large volumes of rolls of sublimation paper. They got into selling sheets. So on the site, as far as selling the sheets, they seem like a newer company, but they had been producing sublimation paper for years. So there's a lot of things that's why you have to really talk to them. Also understand, when you are talking to a rep, you are talking to a customer service rep. You are not, we get spoiled on the state side. I am the owner of Honestly Speaking. You are able to speak to me. I am on here giving you a live video. You see my face. For a lot of small businesses, you interact directly with your customers. On Alibaba, that's not the case. You are dealing with a salesperson. You're dealing with someone who's trying to secure a sale to keep a roof over their head, because a lot of them live, work, and play. We're like in this facility, like whoever they work for, they have a housing, and all of them live in this housing. They come to work. If there's an issue and there's a refund, for a lot of them, the factory doesn't take that hit. Whoever was the person that did it and they screwed up, the money comes from their paychecks. So there's a lot. That's something I'm telling y'all. I am very grateful that I have been through every great experience and some of the worst experiences with dealing with it. And because I can now, I can fully educate anyone on the pros and cons, the what can happen, the what is, so that you are fully prepared for it. So if you like, you're gonna have some, and sometimes you'll like really have really great relationships. Let's say like now you're like 15, 20 orders in. Okay, if you want to save some money, you can end up doing just a wire transfer. If the amount is not too big, you can do it through PayPal. You can do it through like your credit card. And some people will choose to do it through certain credit cards because they have assurance through their credit cards, even with doing import and export, especially when you have a business card and things like that. There are certain ones where, because they know you're doing import, certain cards come with like that assurance as well. So it all depends on you and how you want to really operate. Of course, anyone's going to tell you, especially starting out, the best thing to do is stay within the Alibaba system and go through there so that you know that you are protected. But you'll get to a point where it's like, okay, well, I can give Alibaba this money, or I can put this money towards some more inventory, or I can put this money to where I don't have to take the long freight. I can take this and maybe put it and get air freight. And now I have mine in 4 days instead of 30 days. So that's pretty much up to you. And you have to make that personal decision. No one can make that decision for you. So that's that, going through Alibaba versus going directly through your vendor and doing a wire transfer, a credit card transaction, or a PayPal transaction. You have to make that decision. And when you do those and you're paying them directly, they tend to give you a little bit more like breaks and stuff. And then the other question was as far as going through a broker or going through there. So you can still go through paying for the stuff and like purchasing like the product through Alibaba, but then you're not using a freight forwarder through them, and you're going to do your own broker. So you're going to have some people, because they have a relationship with them, it's a kickback. You will find that like some will say, like, to make it seem like they're giving you certain things, right? And then let's say you decide you don't want to use their freight forwarder, where they're not going to get that kickback. So then they're going to tell you, okay, well, you now have to pay extra for this, that, and the third. Like there's pros and cons to it. Like they have their reasons for doing certain things. You're using their people. It's just like, how I talk about when you have your own account with USPS, UPS, and with the whole free shipping thing. If you're sending a bunch of product through these channels, they're going to offer you discounts. They're going to offer you a kickback because you are guaranteed money for them. Well, because they have their favorite forwarder, a couple of them, and they're constantly giving them business for them to make money, they're going to give them a kickback. They're going to give them a deal. Well, when you don't go through them, they're not getting that kickback. So they may take something away, or they may tell you might have to charge something, where let's say if your labels were free before, when you were going through their freight forwarder and they were doing the whole process for you, well, now they're going to tell you have to pay for your label. When you're going through theirs, the price is a lot more. They're going to tax on. And you see the difference when you go through their freight forwarder and you do it yourself. You will save some money because they are going to tack on a little bit. They're going to pad it. I mean, that's business. They're going to pad it. Oh wait, I read that one. No wonder they act like they don't know anything and still want to be pushy. Yeah, because they're just sales reps. I found that out working at AT&T. You always give great value. Thanks for sharing. You're very welcome. I'm not sure if that's Dee or Eric, but hey to both of you. Hello, my dear. Thank you for joining my live. When you were asking questions on Alibaba, were you talking to actual manufacturer of that item, or it's always going to be a sales rep? You are only here in America in situations like this. You're going to actually talk to the actual person. I mean, if you got a question about Toyota, you're never going to talk to the CEO of them when it comes to major companies. So no, you are pretty much going to talk to a sales rep. I will say, because so for me, I talked to the main person for my ink, because I drove my salesperson crazy. And when I didn't get what I needed, I went. So here's the thing too with Alibaba, it's called a RFQ. So you can go and say like you're inquiring about information from this one company, and you'll put it in. But then there's another page that says you want to put an RFQ, and it basically sends a message out to everyone who sells that product, and you're going to get a bunch of messages in, right? So I end up doing that because I'm like, look, this ain't right. I need this, this, and this. This is why my black ink looks the way that it does, and it's not brown like everybody else's, because I wasn't playing that bull crap, right? So when they didn't want to fix certain things, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm about to go through a different one. But when you get to that RFQ and they see your name, then I had the owner. I'm not sure what he's like. The owner, he's like the main person, at least for this, like that part, who contacted me. So now I communicate with him because he saw that I wasn't no game. I didn't play no games. And he even told me, oh, I saw your live video. You're very serious about this. You damn Skippy. So I will say for my ink, I talk directly to someone that's in charge and not just a sales rep. But my paper, I talk to a sales rep. But I have talked to the factory because they contacted me about issues with their paper, and because of how I test, and when they saw my live videos, they contacted me to find out what solutions were because they were having issues with others. So I have talked basically to their factory. Always. I am wonderful. How are you? You always have great content. I'm glad y'all feel that way. Thank you so very much. Does that salesperson work for the manufacturer? They work for the manufacturer. None of them work. Alibaba is just a site. It's just a shell. They don't, when you go and you order something from Etsy, you're never going to talk to anyone from Etsy until you have an issue. So that particular shop is who you're talking to. You're never going to talk to Alibaba directly. Do you need a broker for a small order or large orders? Pretty much larger orders, because you're going to send it through a port. When it's a smaller order, you're going through their freight forwarder, or like freight forwarder and broker are pretty much the same thing. And because they're going to send it, and I talked about that because you have to watch the playback of this. So because they're sending it through DHL, FedEx, UPS, or any of those, they have their own they have their own customs authorization and brokers, like for FedEx, UPS, DHL, and all of that. So when you pay for that, you're already kind of like paying for their broker situation, because as a shipping company and an import export company, they already have that secured. So when you're doing smallers, you'll never deal with the broker, because it's going to go through their freight forwarder to get from China to California. And then the stateside broker is UPS, FedEx, or whatever. If you're using DHL, it's straight air freight to come over. DHL really doesn't do the come into California, then they ship it to you. Normally DHL, it's going air freight. All right. So I think I pretty much answered all those questions. It is 10:44. You guys got an hour and 40 minutes. And I'm sorry, I did not show Alibaba. I meant to, but y'all just got an hour and 40 minutes. And I answered almost every single question. So I would have liked to go to the website, but I can't. But if you are interested in really getting it broken down further, I'll try to do another quicker video where I will not go over all of this stuff again. This will be like part 1, and I can show, like, when you're looking at the badges, you'll see how many years they have been there. There are certain colors that represent different things. You can see how many sales they've made in the US, how many orders, what is their monthly like production rate. For those who have not so great reviews, you're going to see all of those. Read through those. Sometimes the bad reviews are not based off the company. It's that person's personal experience, and maybe they didn't like the way that it was handled. Kind of went through that with someone a few days ago. I provided the best customer service I can. Just because my answer was not what you wanted does not mean that I did not provide you service. It's not the answer that you wanted. And my job in business is not to give you what you want. I have to do what's best for my business, and they will do the same thing. Alibaba is definitely a safe site because it is a marketplace. Alibaba is just the website. So this site itself is safe, but you have to vet the vendors on there. If you're just coming in, you'll just have to watch the playback of the video. I went through everything as far as pros and cons of it, and I also just kind of answered that one. So you definitely would have to go back and watch the playback of this video. If you're like, I don't want to watch another hour and 40 minutes, then you don't want the information. Because some people will say that. Like, it's okay to watch it when it's live and you're engaged, but watching the playback, they feel like, they want to kind of maybe pick up little things and not. It's great information in here. I broke down a lot of the key things you need to know when going into this. So for those of you guys who have sat here and listened to me talk about this for an hour and 40 minutes, what are your thoughts? Like, do you think now I need to slow my roll and thinking that this is a very easy process and I need to do a little bit more research? Buy-ins might be the way to go because I don't have to deal with this headache. If this has changed your mindset, because a lot of people said, I'm interested. Did you think that it was this involved when it comes to ordering and becoming some sort of vendor of mass-produced products? I was watching one of your other videos and seeing you were on live. Well, I made it at the end. Hope to catch another live. Watching the playback is just as valuable. I'm trying to get people to understand that, even for my classes. Oh, I really want to take this class, but I missed too many days. I need it to be live. People think they need it to be live. But the way I teach, you really want to just absorb it all in and then go watch that playback. Research, definitely slow it down. Woo, honey, it's intense. Yes, thank you so much for the info. It gave me a better perspective. I have never ordered from Alibaba. I've learned so much. Thank you. Do you think the vendors are safe if they only have other country reviews and none from the US? You always have to take a chance on them. And there might be a reason why they don't have. It's hard to say that, like, what's the reason why they can't do the US? And then for reviews, let's also be very honest. How often do you actually leave a review on some? I will say I have vendors and I've used quite a few people over there and I ain't left not one review. I am not one. And I don't really stress about full on reviews like that on my website. I do like when I'm on here and I ask a question because I can take that little, like, let's say someone makes a comment or something, or they go and, says, hey, I love this class, whatever. I can screenshot that and I can use that to show social proof. But let's be very honest. How often American consumers, unless it is something wrong, how often do you really leave a raving review for everything that you have purchased? So you may not, they may sell to US, but because we're lazy and we don't want to go and write these long out reviews, you don't. So you can't necessarily go off that. It is best that you speak with the company. And if it's someone that the price is right for you, it's the item that you are interested in. And I know most of you guys are probably here because you want to know about selling, getting your own tumblers, but there's so many things. If you wanted to start a product line, if you wanted to get just shirts, if you wanted to get these same outfits they sell on Shein. Shein is basically just overseas. And it's like, I mean, it's just an overseas vendor and they made it to it. And when you order it, you're getting it from China, that's why it takes so dang long. But you have to just vet them. You have to try them out. So you can't always go off of, vendors. If I went and I'm doing it, I'm looking at the stuff and I've talked to them and I'm okay with what they're saying to me and I'm okay with trying out the samples. If everything went well with getting the samples, I normally order a smaller quantity first. That's the other thing too. You have to give people grace because you're trying to be very cautious. You're not going to go and dump hundreds and thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars into a company. You may start off slow. Well, let me see how you handle this small, it's not a small order, but it's a nice size, it's a decent size order. How did you handle this? Okay, well, everything worked out well here. Let's now test the waters. Let's take it up. Okay, now next time I order, I'm going to order a little bit more. Okay, so then you'll start to trust them with like the big ones. By then, you've built that relationship. But I would never tell you to go into a company and give them all this money and you haven't vetted them. Vetting them is also ordering smaller quantities. Is it going to cost you more money when it comes to shipping because you're doing so many transactions? Yes, but it's better than giving them all your money up front and getting this really large order and it doesn't work out for you. You definitely gave some great points. I have been scared to order from them, but after listening to you, I will give it a chance. Thank you for the info. I placed an order stateside to have now and by sea. What? For a large order. Okay, yeah. I'm here because I've started selling blanks locally, small, and I want to eventually sell outside. Um, let's see. You open my eyes to the process. Some items are worth the purchase, but definitely take your time. You don't need to be live because she gets all the information that you need. 9 times out of 10, she answered the questions you will need. That's true. I knew there were potentially a lot of pitfalls, but no one ever knows what they don't know or where to start. Child, I have tons of reviews. I have tons of reviews to do on Amazon. Will I get to them? Probably not. I know I'm guilty. I still want to become a vendor. There's not any in my town, and we have to sit in traffic to get products or order from those that price hike. So I'm grateful for your firsthand insight. Thank you. I look forward to learning from your next live. That's another one. Like, man, people when they say price hikes, I just looked at the company I was considering placing an order with. Not a lot of employees, but in business since 2000. That just means like when they don't have a lot of employees, that just means it might be a slower production. And when they don't have a lot of employees, you sometimes get a more personable like interaction with them to where they'll be willing to like work with you. When you have companies that have a lot of employees and they are big business, they like teenagers, they pretty much smell themselves and you're not going to get a lot out of them. Like it's like they don't really care. Like, okay, whatever. You want to deal with us? All right, fine. We got 30,000 other people. But when you have smaller companies, they're just like you when you're starting. Do you want someone because you don't have a full staff and you're starting out, but you know that you have a great product? Do you want them to go, I don't know about that? Then you're not going to make any money either. The same way that you want someone to take a chance on you when you go and you just buy a printer and you're just going to get into this. And it's like, hey, I know how to put this on here. Pay me top dollar or pay me for this. It's the same thing. So again, research, contact them. Once you put your information in there, they will normally contact you via, like a lot of them will contact you via WhatsApp. There is a major time difference. So you have to be willing to stay up late at night to talk to them. It can be a lot of back and forth. It can be where there's several days like before anything gets resolved. It is not an easy process because of the different time zones. And if you're someone that's sleeping, they'll send you a message. By the time you wake up to send them a message, they've gone home. So you can end up missing each other quite a bit, but definitely talk to them. You never know. Thank you so much for sharing this info. I love doing my reviews. I wish I did. I will say I got a bunch of stuff I have not done reviews for. 2 questions in one. How would one person hosting the buy-in get a kickback from the price that the buyer pays, or at what percentage if they do? So this is not about buy-ins. I actually did a video about buy-ins, and it's not necessarily where it's a kickback. What happens is, if I was planning to get tumblers, right? And let's say I know that I only want 100 tumblers. And the cost per tumbler, if I get 100, is, let's just say, $2, right? Well, if I now do a buy-in, and then I have to pay all the shipping myself. Now, let's say I do a buy-in and I'm able to now get this. I was already prepared to pay $2 for the 100 tumblers that I wanted, because that's all I really needed. So now I'm going to do a buy-in. I'm going to invite all of you guys to kind of come in with it. And now I went from an order of 100 to an order of 500. So now instead of charging me $2, you might be charging me $1.50 or $1. Well, because now I'm able to get this at a cheaper rate, I still only need my 100. So instead of paying $2 for these, I'm able to either now or double my order, because everybody else has taken me to a higher quantity and maybe a different price break. So that's where it's not a kickback, but it becomes an advantage, because you're helping them meet a higher MOQ, which will take the cost down. And also in my live video, this is one of the reasons why, if you're just doing, like for us, we are used to shipping out anyway. So we're used to doing work. We ship out ink and paper all the time. If that's not the company, that's not what you normally do, and you're trying to do this on top of doing your regular orders, and you have to now process all this stuff, I personally don't feel like, you're choosing to do this work. To me, buy-ins for like a regular Joe Smo is very foolish, because you're not accounting for all the work that you're going to have to do, counting, going through, separating things, having boxes, especially if you're allowing people to buy small quantities. When I told y'all, when I do my buy-in, there is no small quantity. You want wholesale prices, you're going to have to buy wholesale quantities. There is no, I want to do a buy-in, I just want 5 of them because I want them at $2. No, baby, you're going to have to buy a full case. Or you're going to have to buy something where, like, if we put it in packs, you're going to have to buy this full pack. You're not going to be able to go buy one of this, one of this, one of that, and expect to get the best pricing. So it's all in how people run their buy-ins. But I've talked about that, but I can definitely put that on the schedule and do another video about pros and cons, and that you guys need to give some of these people who do buy-ins a little grace, especially if they're doing it the correct way. Great explanation on a buy-in. So yeah, all right, let me get off of here. Hello, Professor. I'm going to, after you started, do you have a link for Alibaba? It's just Alibaba.com. You just type in Google Alibaba. That's it. And that's how you get to the website. All right. So thank you guys so very much for joining. All this great information. Hopefully you guys will stop by my website as well. Great way to say thank you is to support the person that just gave you all this great information. Y'all can bless my Cash App if you want, HASync365. I'm just playing. But how you can definitely say thank you is give this video a thumbs up. Tap the screen over here. Kind of upset. Look, I know it's great information. You probably weren't thinking about it. I'm a little perturbed at the fact that I've been on for 2 hours and I only have 2,000 likes. it's a little disheartening, that y'all aren't tapping the screen for all the great information that I gave. But definitely share the video out. Um, help spread the narrative that everyone who's of this complexion are not out to just take everything from you. And there's people that give you great information. That's how y'all can help me, and how you can support and just say thank you for the information is, recommend me to others, because as my audience broadens, all I can do is just grow. And I will say I am very different from a lot of people. Like I said, I am very grateful. It is frustrating when you are in the moment of things that are not ideal. But in the grand scheme of things, because I am here to educate others, I am very grateful for it, because I can really give you a full scope of what the process may be, the pros and cons, the hiccups that will come, and things that you need to be prepared for. So although I go and I'm like, Lord, why? And he has to constantly remind me, why? Because of the people that you speak to every day. And you need to be the vessel, and you're going to be the exception to the rule. And he has to remind me of this daily. So I thank you guys so very much. Our website is shop.hsink365.com. HSINK365.com. We are a U.S. supplier. We cannot give you the rates from overseas, but we provide a great product. And speaking of which, when it says the price hike, give people some grace with that as well. Just because you may not have overhead, you don't know what someone else's overhead is for their business. And it's not that they're trying to hike up the prices. And it's not your fault that they may have more overhead than what you think that they should have, but it's what it takes to run their business. Maybe they are doing things to make it better for others. Like some people, their prices are higher because they will get branded boxes, or like they pay for more overseas. They have the covering, but it's also going to go in a box. If you have the tissue, like it's already like the phone, all that stuff, let's say you sell jewelry, you get the box and the film, it becomes more than someone selling it just as a raw item. So just give some people some grace, because you never know. Oh, excuse me. What someone's overhead is. A lot of people complain about not having Honestly Speaking on the back. We can easily put Honestly Speaking on the back, but it's going to cost y'all more, because then we have to pay for that. It'll take longer for sometimes, like for us to get the inventory in, because it takes, where with paper, they can get our order shipped out, let's say within 2 weeks. If I go and have my name put on the back, they have to produce the paper, send it to the printer to get our name put on the back, and then cut it. So it increases the production time, it increases the cost. So you can either pay attention and feel the paper and get a great price, or I can listen to y'all and I can put Honestly Speaking on the back, but trust and believe that cost is going to go up, because I'm not going to eat the cost because you guys don't want to feel the paper. So you never know the reasons why someone charges what they charge. Someone can be putting in more work and it costs them more to get it. There are some people who are paying that air freight, so they go a little bit higher because they have to account for that. Whereas someone who's ordering in larger quantities and they're doing straight to a local port, they're paying less money. So they might pass those savings on to their customers. You never know what someone's business model is, so you have to show them some grace. And as a business owner, when you are really getting into business and you are not just a crafter, you'll learn to start to appreciate that factor of business. Huh? I don't need the name in the back. Wait, what? What? What are y'all talking about? um we're about to do our first ones, so I can't say how often we're gonna do, because we're about to do our first one. Oh, drop my link. It's in the description of this video. All my links are in the description of this video. Afterwards, click on it. All the links are there. I love your energy. Look forward to learning. I pray God continues blessing. I pray God's continued blessings upon you and your business. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for that. Thank you for tagging someone. Thank you, AJ. But the link is in the description. Oh, you don't need the name on the back of the paper. Exactly. Okay. I was like, wait, what? I know you have I know you have the best. There is a different feel on the tacky and fast dry. Yes, there's a somewhat, but the tacky is shinier on the print side than the fast dry. So you can look at it and tell it looks smoother and it looks shinier. Y'all have the best. I've tried 6 to 10 different ones. How can I get by without being a Facebook user? I don't know why it's starting to do that, because it depends on where you're watching it from. It might be in the description to say I give StreamYard permission to show my name. So I don't know why it's not showing it. She says, I'm good with rubbing the paper. New here. What kind of business do you do, please? We sell Sublimation ink, Sublimation paper, pigment ink. So this is our brand. So I provide Ivy League craft and creative education through my 365 Creative Academy website. So I teach about business. I teach about sublimation. I teach about paper crafting. I teach about designing, graphic designing. And I use Silhouette Studio as the platform that I choose to teach graphic designing from. But we also have a product line. We sell the best sublimation paper, no butcher paper required, no cover sheet required. You can sublimate as low as 365 degrees, as fast as 30 seconds. We sell sublimation ink as well as pigment ink for your regular print needs and stuff like that. So that's what we do here. And I'm just an all around, I do demos of different things. So definitely check me out. We also have a print business. So I do shirts and yard signs and cutouts and tumblers and this and the third. So I do a little bit of everything. Just a little something. We like your prices just as they are. We don't need any names on the back. Our fingers can feel just fine. As it relates to keeping up with inventory, how often must someone order from Alibaba once becoming a vendor? Only you will know that, because you don't know how often someone's going to order from you. Are you okay with being sold out for a little bit until you can afford to put in another order? Or are you going to just keep putting in small orders and paying more for shipping? So there is no exact time frame. You have to create that. We have a par level. Once we reach a certain level, we then place an order, and it has to be that level across the board as far as like product. If we don't have 8.5 by 11, we still have 8.5 by 14. So you still have a product that you can use. So there's no urgency for us to go and order 8.5 by 11 because you have 8.5 by 14. If you can print 13 by 19, you can print 11 by 17. If our 13 by 19 runs out, you got 11 by 17. If you really need 13 by 19, then you're more than welcome to go to a vendor, because we personally will not order it until we reach a certain par level for everything. You determine that for your business. Why am I still answering these questions? Let me get my behind up off here, because if I go and keep clicking through this, I'm going to keep answering questions. It's been 2 hours. I love y'all. Visit the website shop.hsink365.com. Until next time, have a great one. Continue to unlock your creativity and be incredible, because I need to eat before this 12 o'clock class. Love y'all. Bye.